is Sheriff Frank G. Cousins.
Thank you very much, Jeff. It's great to be here. And first of all, I want to say a few words about Jeff. I think, one of the unique things that when I went to the Sheriff's Department 20 years ago, I was getting to meet a lot of people. We had a lot of people that work for us. It's a lot different department than it is today. And I think Jeff is probably the most important thing that I can say about Jeff is Jeff really helped us turn the curve with some of the collective bargaining issues at the Essex County Sheriff's Department. We took over a very, very dysfunctional workforce, and Jeff was in a great position to take over as the president of the collective bargaining group with the correctional officers several years ago, and probably about 7 years ago now, huh? Maybe 7 or 8 years ago, 8 years ago. And Jeff provided a tremendous amount of leadership, which I think is really what sets the tone for what people that run large agencies. Doesn't matter if you're the sheriff, you could be a superintendent of schools, a mayor, run a company. If you don't show leadership and try to, Jeff and myself, firsthand, we just worked on resolving the issues around trust and issues around working through issues and getting people to take ownership and responsibility for their actions, and really focused on trying to make the workplace a better workplace. And and the reality of that is we have 3 collective bargaining groups. We have 5 collective bargaining groups in total with the Essex County Sheriff's Department. The largest group, of course, is the correctional officers and the sergeants, which is a little bit over 400 employees, about 410 right now. But the result of that is we've had like an 8-year period because of Jeff's leadership of not having a grievance, not having an arbitration case, which is really unheard of in Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And nobody can say that. And really, that's one of the greatest accomplishments collectively that we've all worked on together. And Jeff was really the catalyst that came in, sat down with me and said, hey, how are we going to get this ship around and get people focused in on their jobs and careers, and really turn it into, which I say, he just said, the best uniform division in the state, and it really is. And that continues today. So that's been really one of the real positive things that I think that Jeff should talk about, does talk about, but really focus in on that, because the leadership that he put forth with that group is really unprecedented. And, one of the real challenges we have in Massachusetts, and it doesn't matter what public agency that you run, is how do you work through some of these collective bargaining issues and keep people focused and moving forward. And so that's what I was really proud about him. And the other thing that he's done, he's since been promoted to lieutenant. He went to the assessment center, really did a good job with the assessees that came in. And we were the first in the state to bring in an assessment center. You see that a lot with police departments and fire departments and sheriff's department. We were the first sheriff's department in the state to have testing, and the first in the state to have assessment centers. So Jeff went, and when he finished his tenure as president, he did a great job of getting promoted to the rank of lieutenant, and has done a great job running the second shift up in Lawrence at the pre-release facility, and really done a good job with that. And it's not easy. Working in corrections is very difficult. It's a very difficult job. You got to be patient with people. There's always something going on and always something happening. So we're very proud of his work on what he's done on a day-to-day basis. And I know the superintendent that he worked for a number of years is very pleased with his work. So with that, and he's been out working hard, on the political front. Before I get to talk a little bit about what we do and so forth, he's been out working hard, getting his signatures, very professional in the workplace. I have four employees that are running for office that work on a daily basis at the Sheriff's Department. And Jeff has been very, very good at just coming in and focus on doing his job and not getting involved, as I call silly season, and really, really doing his job, and then, coming outside and meeting people and trying to get people to support his candidacy. And I think that says a lot about his, his own self and the type of person that he is. So You know, I'm very happy that I talk to him once or twice a week. He calls me, tells me what he's done, what he's seen, what do you think about this? And it's not easy running for office. And as we know, in really in our country, you know, we need good people to run for office. There's a lot of young people here in the room tonight, and I think that's key because, you know, we're not getting people to run for office for the reason of, you know, wanting to do a good job, wanting to help people, wanting to continue to move our agency forward. So I think Jeff's done a really good process with that, and kind of navigate through that. I know Ken has been very helpful trying to keep him heading in the right direction, and it's a lot of work. And so I want to congratulate Jeff on that, and talk a little about that. And I know he's going to continue to work hard the next couple of months and get out and see a lot of people. So tonight he asked me to come over and say a few words about what I do as sheriff, and then I'll open it up for any questions or comments that any of you have, and talk a little bit about, you know, what I see in the office of sheriff, the vision for the office.
Is there one thing that you know of Jeff that would make him stand out from the rest?
Well, I think, you know, as I said in my opening comments, I think one of the best things about Jeff, I think Jeff's a great communicator. Good communication, and I think that, you know, I know firsthand from working with him, he's been a very good communicator for my capacity as the office sheriff. And I think good communication is very, very important. And it's probably one of the most important things, I think, that makes a good sheriff. And, you know, unfortunately, sometimes you have to say no to people, but I think Jeff gets that. And I've seen it happen with him when he was in his capacity as a unit president. We had to tell people, sorry, we can't do that. You know, you might have to resign, or you might end up getting terminated. You know, and that really gets to the integrity of the department. What type of department you're going to have, where people feel good about coming to work, and, you know, not everybody does bad things at work. There's a small percentage, but you have to be consistent. You have to treat people fair, and I think he understands that, understands how to do that. So.
Thank you.
Well, I think, you know, you ask how you take steps, and I think Jeff understands. You know, one of the things that I think, you know, him and I are very proud of is the workforce. You know, our workforce is reflective of what Essex County looks like. You know, we have a little bit of everybody that works here. You know, and that could have been accomplished without his help. And I think that, you know, when you do that, you know, people work together better, people communicate better together. You know, if you think about the population, you know, we said 1,230 people roughly incarcerated in Middleton. 44% of that is Hispanic. 44% of people that live in Essex County, almost 800,000, are Hispanic. So those type of things you have to kind of look for solutions for. You have to have a diverse workforce. You have to work with maybe the city of Lawrence, in certain neighborhoods in Salem where he grew up in, issues like that. Those things have to be worked on. And they're very difficult issues. They're hard issues. But you can recruit young people that want to be correctional officers that are bilingual. When I went there, we had very few bilingual speaking people. So you didn't know what was going on. So those type of changes, I think Jeff understands that. I think that's very, very important. And you have to build trust. If you don't build trust in a community and look at areas of technology, and training, good communication, you will not break down the barriers. And that's very, very important.
Thank you. The reason why I am running is because Sheriff Cousins is retired. I would not run against him. I think that would be political suicide. But aside from that, I respect the man. I know what he's doing is the right thing. He does not take orders from anyone. He answers to the public. When he makes decisions, he already thought about it, and he stands by it. So for me, to emulate someone like that would be an honor. To take over after this man would be an honor. I am not in this for political gain. I am in this because I care about the officers, I care about the inmates, I care about the people that work there, and I care about the community. My biggest asset, like the sheriff said, was I like to bring people together. I like to work on issues that are challenging, where people don't see eye to eye, and make things happen. That's my goal. I look at this opiate crisis, and we are all suffering right now. I personally, in my life, I lost my father to opiate addiction. I went through that as a child, and now that it's more prevalent in society, that there's no clear-cut solution to fix this. But we need someone in this office that is going to try to make things happen the right way. The sheriff has already written the blueprint. We need to expand on it. We need to work with people. We need to work with the community. We need to work with the police departments, the courts, and everyone that is involved in the criminal justice system, as well as the inmates themselves. They need to identify that they have a problem and actually want to have help. So for me, it's a challenge, obviously, to get these individuals to admit that they have a problem is very difficult. They're walking into a situation where it's very embarrassing for them. Getting arrested is no fun trip. I'll tell you that. I've worked in this system for 22 years, and when I did the math, it's the equivalent to being locked up 4 years in prison for me. Inmates, criminals, you look at them as dregs of society, you can look at them as bad people. I don't. I look at them as people that may be lost, people that made a mistake, people that can be helped, and people we need to help. The only way to change our society, or the way that people view inmates, criminals, or ex-inmates, is if we help them and give them the tools to help themselves. When they get out of jail, what are they going to do? We need to provide them with the tools. And when we do that, that's where our reward comes in. And I want to thank you all for coming tonight, and I appreciate the time the sheriff took out for us. Sheriff, thank you very much. Thank you everybody here for coming.